So this theme is pretty strong in the readings today of that sense of laboring. All you who labor, burden is the gospel. The first reading from Isaiah and the Psalm both have to do with the sense of, there's a sense of heavy weightedness on people struggling because of their own sins, perhaps. And from Isaiah, he says that, we're struggling to do anything correct. We don't have life within us. He gives this funny image, actually, of crying out, like thinking we have a baby inside of us and we give birth only to wind. That's kind of funny, and he's meant to be funny. He's meant to be a little silly, but the point is we're fruitless. We don't have life within us. We're not able to do anything without the Lord. And this is, of course, true for all of us people of faith, that we rely on God's Spirit to help us in the morning, to pick us up, to get us going, to be able to make sense of some things like COVID and other issues in our lives. With sin all around us, there's also grace. There's also always the grace of God in the presence of Jesus that we celebrate today as Catholics in the Eucharist, but also, of course, within ourselves as we come here in the Word of Scripture, already within us through our baptism. Also, that Spirit is present in all kinds of mysterious ways that we're not even aware of. But if we tune into that, if we try to realize that God is always there, God is always present, that God is near and not far away, that would be a very good thing for us. That psalm response really struck me about that sense of from heaven the Lord looks down on the earth. That old way of seeing God, of the big old man way up in the sky and being very far away, it's always disturbed me. There was a popular song a number of years ago, I think back in the early 90s, From a Distance, God is there. From a distance, God is there. And I always thought, no, God is very close. God is right here, and God's kingdom is within me. It's there. I have that ability to bring that forth. It's not that God's always away, but God's here. So I think if we can remember that and try to get close to Jesus in this way and not be afraid to get close to Jesus. A lot of times we think, well, if I'm going to get close to the Lord, He's going to ask a lot of me. It's going to be more heavy burdens. No. My burden is light, He says to us. In fact, the wonderful image of that is the stole, and I have a stole underneath this thing called a chasuble, and the stole is a piece of cloth that goes around the priest's neck. It's the yoke. It's the yoke of Christ. It's light. It's a cloth. It's meant to be that symbol of carrying on the work of Jesus is not a burden, but is a joy, is a wonderful gift. So for all of us in that way, that invisible stole, the stole given to us at baptism, that white garment, it's that same idea that we're putting on Christ. So let's pray for that grace today to know that Jesus is near, and know that that nearness is not a burden to us. It's something that calls us to a wonderful lightness of being and joy.